Magdy Iskandar and Jill Kobashigawa, thank you very much for joining us on ThinkTech Hawaii. It's great to have you here.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the invitation.
You guys are doing a very exciting conference coming the end of August, and I want to talk about it. This is out of the engineering school at UH Manoa. Can you tell us about it, Magdy?
Yes, well, delighted actually to share with you the fact that we will be hosting our fourth IEEE conference. That's number 4 since we started the center in 2002. The Hawaii Center for Advanced Communication is developed by the state with the objective is through multidisciplinary research and educational activities, we will be able to contribute to the economic development in the state. Now, part of what we do besides teaching courses and doing research and attracting grants is also to organize conferences. And these are international conferences sponsored by IEEE, which is the largest engineering organization in the world, professional organization in the world, with over 350,000 members.
Oh.
So we started the center in 2002. We hosted our conference, our first conference in 2003. And then people came, people enjoyed Hawaii, great contribution, both professionally and socially. And as a result, we were able to host another conference in 2005. Our 2007 conference attracted about 1,500 participants. And now we are having 2 upcoming conferences this year. One at the end of August, and that is the IEEE conference, international conference for wireless information technology and systems.
So it's just for certain kinds of engineering, certain kinds of IEEE engineering.
Exactly. We focus on the wireless technology and information technology and radar technologies and so on.
So who do you expect will come?
We actually, for this conference, we have quite a large group from the Army and from the Oval Office of Naval Research, beside people from Europe, large group, 2 sessions from Japan, 2 sessions from China, 1 session, which means 10 papers per session, from Taiwan. So we have a large group, international group, that will be coming to this conference. In November in 2010, we will be hosting also a prestigious National Science Foundation Guarantees Conference. These are the cream of the crop, funded by the National Science Foundation, and they are coming here in Hawaii to report on what they have done with the research funding, the research awards that they receive from the National Science Foundation. So supporting the hospitality industry is part what we call our outreach for the community and support to the economic well-being in the state of Hawaii.
Yeah, you're bringing a lot of people in, but you know the other thing is this kind of conference really puts Hawaii on the map. You know, I personally feel the more conferences we have, the better for us. Hawaii, the conference state. Bring them in from everywhere. And you're doing more than your fair share. Matter of fact, I wonder why you're here. Why aren't you working on these now, Magdy?
Well, because because we are very happy to share this information with the community, and we would like to show that our center, although is a research center with educational component, like in the form of teaching classes and so on, we care about the community in the form of bringing in conferences as well as outreach for middle schools. We are funded by the National Science Foundation in order to use the wireless technology. This is our technology here. Use the wireless technology to stimulate and boost the learning of science and math courses in middle schools. So that's what we call Research Experience for Teacher, RET Hawaii. And presently we have 28 schools from 4 islands participating in our program. Just about 66 teachers involved. And that program impact about 14,000 students in this middle school.
So what happens in that program? Do you go to the school or does the school come to you?
That is very, very good question, because what happened is we establish wireless networks at the schools, and we gave every school 10 laptops equipped with wireless equipment, so the students can access the internet and access the resources available on the internet. We also give the schools PDAs that they can take with them in field trips, and so they can go out in the field trips, record data like water quality data, volcano kind of data, and then transmit this data wirelessly to their laptops at school. And then at school they can do the editing and the data processing and so on of data analysis that's required of them.
And you leave this with them. You don't.
No, but it's done. Yes,
They
it's
they
theirs.
have this forever and ever. Yeah.
Yes, we will
Yeah.
transfer the ownership to them. That's right.
That's very nice.
Yeah. So we
And
have,
very needed, I think.
So we donated over 200 computers so far and many PDAs. And in addition, Jill and other group of graduate students, they developed multimedia modules that the students can use on their laptops in order to understand wireless technology and how that's related to what they learned in science and physics and math courses. For example, the electromagnetic spectrum, how antenna works, what other models we have.
The circuits models.
The circuits model, magnetism models, and so on. So we have all of that available to school, developed by our group to make it available to schools.
So Jill, what is your role in that program? I mean, where do you begin and end in that program?
So I've actually gone out to a bunch of schools to help set up their wireless networks for the kids, and we also work with the teachers to show them, you know, if they have questions about the modules and whatnot, because they're going to be showing it to their students, we can help them understand the more technical aspects and make it easier for them to explain to the middle school level, all these technical topics and whatnot.
For example, you have one on how to use the PDA,
Yeah.
one of the model about how to use the PDA to
Yeah.
enter data and document data and data transference and so on.
I've even been on a field trip to Kobashigawa Marsh, and we took water quality samples with the students and the teachers, and then they've been trying to make it an annual project so they can kind of watch the water quality.
Oh, compare.
Over the years and see
Yeah,
how
yeah.
what's affecting it and things like that.
So you're a teaching assistant, and you're a PhD candidate in
Yes.
engineering,
Yes.
and you're a woman.
Yeah, I guess a rare combination.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say this, but most people think of engineers as men, don't you think, Magdy?
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the challenges engineering is facing, how to attract more women to engineering. Actually, my daughter is doing her PhD on specifically that topic of why women lack participation in STEM-related measures as well as careers, and what can be done about it. What are the problems and what can be done about it in order to increase women and female participation in STEM careers and measures.
That's great. So you keep it in the family, eh?
Well, we try. It's a very important mission for the National Science Foundation as well.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of funding available there trying to reverse this trend of having engineering to be a men-dominated field.
Yeah. So what kind of reaction do you get from the kids, Jill? I mean, you're a woman?
Oh.
Well, I thought all engineers, did they say that? No. What do
No,
they
not
say?
really. They're just excited that I'm out there helping them.
Yeah, okay.
Mostly, but I've had older students, high school students, come up to me and be like, "Oh, how many girls are in the classes?" You know,
Good
like
question. How
kinda-
many? How many?
Well, when I was doing my undergraduate degree, it's not that many. I would say like maybe in my class of 30, there's 5 of us.
Oh, that's a substantial
It's-
percent, yeah.
It's not that bad, but it could be a lot more.
Well, I think it'll probably change going forward. You know, it sounds
Yeah.
like things are changing.
Yeah.
So what do they think about the programs? What do they think about, the instruments you give them? What do they think about the challenges you show them?
They're pretty excited. I guess normally they don't get their hands on like a lot of technology type of things in the classroom normally. So when we bring it out to them, they're all curious and they all want to play with it and everything, you know. So it's a good reaction.
Yeah. So have you ever talked to them about their future? Do you ever talk to them about going into engineering, for a career, for training and all that? What do they say?
They usually ask, "Oh, what do I need to do when I go to high school?" what school did you go to, what
Yeah.
The
what
courses
are
I need to take and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
how important it is to take math
Courses.
courses and how that will help me if I go to engineering.
So I
So
try to
let's
impress
start a
upon them.
conversation. It's very
Yeah.
nice with the students. Yeah.
I would tell you, Magdy, that I had dinner here in Honolulu with the vice mayor of Beijing at one time. And I said to him, Mr. Mayor, I'm so happy to meet you because I know that in China engineering is so important. I understand that 29% of your college graduates have specialized in engineering. And he said, thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that. But you're wrong, Mr. Fidell. It's 59%.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So that's what we got to go for, Jill.
Yeah.
Well, one thing one thing about China, as you know, the top 9 people running the government, the Chinese government, 8 of them are engineers. 8 out of the 9, president and whatever premier or whoever there, the top 9 people, 8 of them are engineers.
What does this tell us?
They have different way of running a country.
Well, it's like it benefits everybody. They used to say going to law school would benefit anyone, but I think these days it's probably just a little better if you're an engineer. That would benefit everyone. We had a Chinese exchange lawyer out here a few months ago, and she was an engineer first and then a lawyer.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So, well, that's China. I suppose.
Well, I said 8 out of the 9, and the 9th is actually a lawyer. So
There you go.
there is a space. There is a place for a lawyer.
It sounds right. The proportion's just about right. But that actually takes us to the other thing I wanted to talk with you guys about, and that is in my earlier conversation with you, Magdy, I was very excited to hear about your international teaching programs, and that is just remarkable. It's a wonderful thing you're doing, and it goes beyond anything that ever happened before. So can you describe your arrangements where you're teaching courses in China and other places in the world?
Yeah, during my visit to China, I spent 1 month at Tsinghua University, which is the #1 university in China, very heavily funded by the federal government, and state-of-the-art facilities and equipment. It's just a top-notch school. Actually, it is modeled after our MIT. So Tsinghua University is the MIT of China. And I spent 1 month there, and I was giving basically some lectures and interacting with graduate students. But as a result of all of that, we ended up with signing an MOU in which we can decide to exchange researcher and exchange graduate students and work together on joint projects. But shortly after I returned from my trip, they discussed it among themselves and asked if I would teach the course I'm teaching here in computational techniques and computational design techniques and so on. I will teach this course jointly with their graduate students in China.
Just for reference, what is that course? What is that subject?
It teach how to simulate and model engineering objects like radars and structures and devices and analyze their characteristics but before you build them. So it's a very important course.
It's a design course.
It's a design course using software, how to develop the effective software in order to model this wide variety of geometry and structures and under different circumstances.
So
of
undergraduate
operations.
course or
That's a graduate course. So I was teaching it here at University of Hawaii and joint teaching it with Tsinghua University. We have enrollment of 5 students in our class. Jill is the TA for that course, and enrollment-wise, we have 5 students from the University of Hawaii and 7 graduate students. 5 of them are PhDs from Tsinghua University. So that came as a result of MOU. I understand it went very well actually, and it was very inspiring for our students here at University of Hawaii to make presentations, that videotaped presentation that we ended up sharing with the Tsinghua students, and Tsinghua students also returned the favor by recording their presentation on videos and sending the video clips here, sharing with us their designs and obtained results from characteristics of their designs and so on. That was very stimulating both for the students and actually for the TA, because you had a chance. She was correcting homeworks from both sides and she had a chance to compare the performance.
So you can kind of see the way they think about problems. Like our students here kind of each solved the problem in a similar way, and the students in China also solved their problems in a similar way, but they were different from each other. So when they presented their results and whatnot, you could see like when we watched the Chinese students present, I could see like the students thinking like, oh, that like they did it that way and whatnot, and like, oh, maybe I should try and go back and look at my code and whatnot, and like take another look and see where they're coming from, kind of thing. So it was kind of good because it kind of made everybody work harder on their code, and I think they learned more that way.
Yeah, so you learned how they approached it.
Yeah.
And it was different.
Yeah.
Maybe they know something, you know. They don't have 59% of their graduate engineers for
That's
nothing.
But at the same time, they didn't do it the same way that we did ours. So I think they
learned
also,
too. Yeah.
took something away from us.
It was complementary. The design procedure were very complementary.
Mm-hmm.
Our students actually improved their presentations because the presentations that came from China were very carefully added and articulated, and
Yeah.
So our students, their casual presentations, they decided that's not good enough to share with our so they worked harder on their presentation. The students also in China had the problem, of course, with language, so they worked hard on preparing their presentation, read it or deliver it in an appropriate way, and that also helped our students actually work harder on how to present their stuff besides just developing the code. It's how to better present it, because the presentation from China came actually very well done and well delivered.
I'm really impressed. Isn't engineering kind of a worldwide thing anyway? I mean, engineering is a sort of a common denominator around the world.
Yeah.
And that everybody is interested, academically anyway, is interested in engineering. So this is fertile ground, if you will, to be able to do this.
And having this cooperation with the top engineering university in China actually started to encourage other universities for doing the same thing with us. So we also have an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with University of Nice in France, and another MOU with Yanjin University in Taiwan. And in both cases, they expressed the same interest of having the same graduate course being delivered in English to their campuses as well. So possibly in the spring of 2011, that same course will be delivered to China, France, and Taiwan, in addition to have it here at University of Hawaii.
Is the University of Cincinnati doing this too?
Not that I know of, but probably they have their own ways of outreaching. International cooperation is a big thing these days.
This is what's happening now, isn't it?
Yeah,
But it
yeah.
sounds like you're really pushing the envelope here. You're doing extraordinary outreach this way.
And for the University of Hawaii, it's very important to us because Hawaii is relatively isolated in the middle of the ocean, so we have to work a little bit harder on making our effort recognized and our reach effort being delivered across the country and across the world if we can.
So what kind of reaction did you get from people at UH Manoa, in the engineering school, who participated in this exchange? I would imagine that it was a mind blower. If I had been there, it would have been a mind blower for me. I'm just wondering what kind of reaction you got from the students.
You get tap on the back. Keep it up, it's good work, but there is nothing really special.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we shouldn't have doing that.
Well, let me ask Jill, when you went over there, was your first trip to China?
I didn't actually go to China.
I am the one who went to
Yeah.
China.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you sending people on all these programs to the outreach places, or are you doing the work here, or are you doing the work by electronic means?
The course is delivered by electronic means across the internet. I visited in all these places I visited, and I stayed at least a month in each one, giving lectures and so on in English.
Mm-hmm.
And I do actually have some students' evaluation from China. And they were incredibly good. The kids are very excited, they're very receptive, and very welcoming to this kind of collaboration as well.
What do they think about people from Hawaii, about teachers from Hawaii, about you?
They love Hawaii. They think it is heaven on earth. They look forward to come to Hawaii actually, and that's one of the main benefit when you start seeing this visit reciprocated. It becomes the exchange will be stronger because it will really have a more significant impact on the way we teach here in Hawaii and the way we do research in Hawaii.
So you think you'll be able to go to that step the next few years to have a physical exchange going both ways?
We're actually taking the project a step forward. I'm submitting an NSF proposal as we speak in the next week or so.
You can talk about it, right?
Yeah, an NSF proposal about development of remote telehealth care systems for remote patients. How to monitor remote patient through the internet and using wireless communication and so on. And that's a collaborative program between France, Tsinghua University, and Egypt, as well as University of Hawaii, the 4 countries.
So will the 4 countries be talking to each other, or it's
That
just
is
one-on-one?
Part of the NSF funding and to facilitate meeting between the 4 countries to develop the program, who is doing what areas of tasks and deliverable in order to develop this innovative telehealth care systems for monitoring remote patients.
And this is your project, Magdy?
That's what we are submitting in a week or
That's
so.
wonderful.
I can
You're
send
bringing
you.
world peace. That's what you're doing.
It's just there are some program at NSF. It's called the program is called PIRE program, which stands for Partnership in International Research and Education. So the PIRE program provides significant funding for this kind of international collaborations, and we developed a niche of doing it in the telehealth care system.
So I know that the Scheidler College of Business, they have actually an office, a classroom facility in Ho Chi Minh City and maybe other places in Vietnam. And they actually teach, and in fact, they've said, we teach 10% of the management of this country, or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking that maybe the engineering school is heading down that path too, and that you could do this. Maybe it's unnecessary, maybe it's necessary. I like your idea about that. But possibly, do you see the possibility of the engineering school actually having a teaching facility in multiple countries where you have a venue there?
With the availability of the internet, I don't know why we really should have.
Interesting.
We should have a physical facility there. We have done it through the internet. It has been extremely successful.
Yeah,
we exchange video clips of the students and their presentations.
We are engineers.
Yeah, so we don't really see, but what's important actually is a long-term exchange between scientists. For example, presently we do have an assistant professor from Yangtze University in Taiwan spending with us 3 months. Not just a visit. 3 months mean doing work, funded work, that results in joint proposals and joint publications. So there is a very important intellectual value to him staying here with us. We hope we'll be sending some of our people also to their school, and that is important. The culture exchange, different thinking, different way of designing, different approaches toward approaching some engineering projects and concepts should evolve from these activities.
Well, the engineering school is really going somewhere these days. Those programs that you described, both of them, all these conferences you're putting together and the outreach teaching are fabulous. And it sounds to me like they are the new model, and you're at the new model, but also that it has a huge beneficial effect for Hawaii. And I wonder how you feel about that. Is this something that's going to change the way the world sees Hawaii? And how should we see it? Is Hawaii on the brink of becoming a bridge to Asia, a bridge to other places, as it has not actually been before?
I hope so. I sincerely feel that that's the way this program could lead to. One of the important impact of this program is the impact on the workforce development in Hawaii. There is no question working with a university like Tsinghua and with a group at the University of Nice will have significant intellectual benefit to our students and the quality of the students, the workforce that we develop here in Hawaii. And as you know, that's what attracts companies, the availability of workforce. So that's number one benefit, how that will impact the workforce development in Hawaii. Number two, through this joint project and intellectual exchange, there are obviously new innovations and new spin-offs and new technologies, and that will attract companies either to come and settle here in Hawaii or some of our technology being licensed somewhere, and it's all will contribute in a way, one way or another, to the economic development here in Hawaii. Of course, the third thing, of course, is, as you mentioned, is such agreement will help also in continuing our effort, attracting conferences and bringing visitors to Hawaii, and that will help support the hospitality industry in the state. So in wide variety of ways, workforce or intellectual kind of impact and projects and innovations and spin-off companies and so on, as well as the conferences. These are all significant benefits to the state.
Yeah, and it's you do have a resource, and that is engineering in a modern, complex world, in a world of electronics and machines and more sophisticated technology all the time. Engineering is at the center of these developments, and so the likelihood, the certainty is that going forward, you guys become more and more relevant. The science will become more and more relevant, and you'll be more and more attractive. The state will benefit by that. You're in a great spot. That's what I think.
Thank you very much. We're trying.
Yeah. Now, what are you going to do about this, Jill? Are you going to stay at the school and participate in these programs? Are you going to become a scientist? Are you going to make $1 million billion on the mainland?
No.
What are you going to do?
I'm from here. I'm from Hawaii on Oahu. And I've always wanted to stay here. So the great thing about this kind of program and all this outreach is that I get to work with a lot of people all over the world without really having to leave my home. So I plan on sticking around for a while.
Yeah, you're going to stay at the school? Are you going to go off and do some entrepreneurial project or some?
I like it at the school, but I think I want to get some work experience too. If there's opportunities here, I would check them out.
When are you going to take your PhD?
That's up to Dr. Iskandar.
When is she going to take her PhD?
Well, there is some work to be done, so
Okay.
We're working on it, yes.
Yeah. So you have a lot of PhD engineers at the School of Engineering?
Well, our center actually in the last 5 years, we graduated 3 PhDs, several master's degree students, and we presently have 5 PhDs and about 3 master's students. We prefer to work with PhDs because they are long-term kind of commitment on research activities. But once in a while, we accepted master's students as well.
So if I wanted to have a career in technology, if I want to be a scientist, should I take a PhD in engineering?
Master's degree is good. PhD is if you want to specialize in an area of research and to be a master of this area and try to attract federal funding and research resources, I think possibly PhD is the way to go because it's very highly competitive. This research funding is very highly competitive, and it does require specialization in specific areas, narrow specialization in specific areas, and so on.
How about you, Magdy? What's your plan? Are you going to work on these projects and take them to their logical conclusion? Or have you got other plans to examine other kinds of projects?
I came to Hawaii in 2002, and HCEC at that time, Hawaii Center for Advanced Communication, just started, and it was a one-man operation. Now we have significant lab facilities. That's really next to none, with an indoor antenna range, wireless test bed, network analysis test lab with 7 network analyzers, RF fabrication, device fabrication lab. So we do have significant lab facilities. And we built the center now. We have about 7 faculty and researchers, so it's about 7 PhDs in the center. So my plan is to continue to work and grow that center. And I really love the Hawaiian community and the community in Hawaii. And that's why we have, although we are a research unit, we have this RET outreach, we have this conferences organization effort. These are all outreach activities. It's not really part of our focus effort, but it is good to be a part and to contribute to the community. And therefore, I intend to continue to move forward and grow all these activities in the future.
Okay, well, in that case, you have to come back and keep us advised.
Well, love to, and thank you very much for the opportunity to be here and share it with you.
Thank you, Magdy Iskandar. Thank you, Jill Kobashigawa.
Thanks.
Thank you both for coming down. Magdy?
Thank you very much.
Aloha.
Thank you. Aloha. Thank you
Jill,
very much.
Thanks.
fabulous. The School of Engineering, hooray. Thanks so much.
Thank you.